Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Yahweh Kakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the whole elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the Servants of Yahweh Yahushai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much did the Deuteronomy chapter 49 breakdown, just a update correction video too. And a beloved brother, one of my guys, sent me the dates. So I just want to edify the correction in that video as well. I didn't give the exact dates. So this is going into basically the tribe of Reuben. All right, and we're going to read that precept really quick, and then we'll go to there. This is Genesis 49, and we'll start at Reuben. All right, it says Reuben. Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians. All right, that's the tribe of Reuben today. All right, it says, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. All right, and Reuben was the only native tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. All right, and again, you know, when you go into the Seminole Wars, right? And I didn't give the proper dates, so we're gonna go into where can I get it? Yeah, here it is. So when you go into the Seminole Wars, all right, the Seminole Wars, it took place in northern Florida. All right, and Andrew Jackson was the one that set that Seminole War up. All right, and it took place in 1817 to 1818. All right, 1816 to 1818, but it says 1817 to 1818, so it's between those two. All right, so you had the first Seminole Wars, which took place in northern Florida. It says the first Seminole War, back when Britain controlled Florida. See, the British often incited Seminoles against America's settlers who were migrated south into Seminole territory. All right, it says these old conflicts combined, right, with the safe haven Seminoles provided black slaves and caused the U.S. Army to attack the tribe in the first Seminole War, and it was from 1816 to 1818. But here it says 1817 to 1818, so it's between those periods there. It says which took place in Florida and southern Georgia. Right? It says forces under General Andrew Jackson invaded Spanish Florida, attacked several key locations, right, and pushed the Seminoles further south into Florida, right? It says let's think it's St. Mark, Florida, April 1818. Two Seminole chiefs or Mecos are captured by Jackson's forces, who used the roche of flying the British flag to lure the Indians to them, right? They did all that, but they didn't conquer them, though. It says, finally, after several officials and unofficial U.S. military expeditions into the territory, Spain formally seceded Florida to the United States in 1821, according to terms of Adam Onis Treaty. It says as soon as the United States acquired Florida, it began urging the Indians there to leave their lands and relocate along with other southeastern tribes to Indian Territory, the present day of Oklahoma. Some Seminole leaders signed a treaty in 1832, and part of the tribe moved, but the other Seminoles refused to recognize the treaty and fled into Florida. See, so that's where it happened. It went into Florida, and they tried to take them down. As I said, Reuben, the Seminole Indians, were the only native tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. They weren't taken down by them. All right, they weren't taken down. And it says the second Seminole Wars, and the second Seminole Wars, it took place from 1832, right, to 1845 or 1835. It says right here, right? See, 1835 to 1842. All right, so 1835 to 1842. The Second Seminole War. It says the Treaty of Payne's Landing, right, signed by a small number of Seminoles in May 1832, required Indians to give up their Florida lands within 3 years and move west. When the U.S. Army arrived in 1835 to enforce the treaty, the Indians were ready for war. See? As Major Francis Dade marched from Fort Brooke towards Fort Kings, 180, Seminole Wars led by Micanopy, the Alligator and Jumper attacked. Only one man of that army detachment survived ambushed, right? So they were ambushed. It says the campaigns of the Second Seminole War were an outstanding demonstration of guerrilla warfare by the Seminoles. See? So they got ambushed. Them troops tried to come in there, they got their ass ambushed. It says the Machos Jumper, Alligator, Manakami, if I'm saying it right, and Osceola, it says leading less than 3,000 warriors, were pitted against 4 U.S. generals and more than 30,000 troops. The Second Seminole War. So there was two wars. You had the First Seminole War and the Second Seminole Wars from 1816 to 1818. Then you had the Second Seminole Wars from 1835 to 1842. All right. It says the Second Seminole War, 1835, 1842. It says usually referred to as the Seminole War proper, was the forced war, right, waged by the U.S. government against American Indians. The United States spent more than $20 million fighting the Seminole Wars. The war left more than 1,500 soldiers and uncounted Americans, civilians dead. And the obvious duplicity of the U.S. government's tactics marred Indian-white relations throughout the country for future generations. As the hostilities dragged on, frustrated, U.S. forces increasingly turned to desperate measures to win the war. For example, Osceola was captured and imprisoned when he met with U.S. troops who had called for a truce and claimed to want to talk peace. With Osceola imprisoned, the United States was confounded the war would end soon, but it did not. Although Osceola died in prison in 1838, other Seminole leaders kept the battle going for a few more years. In 1842, a normal end of the hostilities arrived, though no peace treaty was ever signed. By this time, most Seminoles had been moved from Florida, relocated to Indian Territory, today's Oklahoma. See, and then you had the Third Seminole Indian Wars, meaning the U.S. troops never defeated the Seminole Indians. The Seminole Indians was the only native tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. They tried, and it didn't fucking work. They said, fuck it, we just gonna leave them alone. They left. They never dominated them, ever. The Seminole Indians were the only native tribe that wasn't taken down by the troops. Then you had the Third Seminole War. It says the Third Seminole War. A Third Seminole War broke out in 1855, which conflicts largely over land arose between whites and some Seminoles who remained in Florida. It says constant military patrols and rewards for the capture of the Indians reduced the Seminole population to about 200 men when the Third Seminole War ended in 1858. And there you go, man. You had 3 Seminole Wars, but the main ones were the First Seminole Wars, and then you had the Second Seminole War. All right, and the U.S. troops never conquered them. The U.S. troops never conquered the Seminole Indians. All right. It says the First Seminole War. Andrew Jackson invaded Spanish Florida, attacked several key locations, and pushed the Seminoles further south into Florida. See, St. Mark's, Florida, right? April 1818, it says 2 Seminole chiefs or Moscows are captured by Jackson's forces, who used the ruse of flying the British flag to lure the Indians to them, because they couldn't find where they were at, because they were in the swamps, and Florida is very swampy down there. They couldn't find where they were at, but it still didn't work. All right, and we're going to go to Deuteronomy 33 real quick, right? Let's go to the main point. Here it is right here. This is Deuteronomy 33 and 6. It says, let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. So, again, the tribe of Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians today. Reuben was the only Native American tribe that was not taken down by the U.S. troops, man. I just had to bring that out, do a correction video on that, because I did kind of air it on the dates a little bit. But yeah, you had 3 Seminole Wars, but the main 2 were the main ones where they tried to take the Seminole Indians down. They couldn't do it. So hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahshai, Bahashem Yahweh Kakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, salutations to the whole for the elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, man. Until next time, I say shalom.